Hi and welcome to Best in Tesla and the news show Overflow number 5. So the discussion about Uber versus Tesla continues, but Uber CEO has just shared some light on the matter. And the Tesla Model 3 wins some more awards, and Tesla finally get approval for full self-driving in China. And we have some more details about the upcoming Cybercab. And Mercedes CEO say they will not be following Tesla into robotaxis. And Wall Street still doesn't seem to get what is going on with Tesla sales here in Q1. All of this and much more in today's episode. Let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
So the discussion about Tesla versus Uber continues, but Uber CEO has just been out sharing some light on the matter. Uber's CEO says Elon Musk was not open to make Tesla's planned robotaxi available on ride-sharing platform. They want to build it alone. So to some extent in Austin, we and Waymo will be competing with Tesla when they launch. So of course Gary Black quickly tuned in and wrote, why would Tesla be able to offer rides way cheaper than Uber when 10 to 12 other auto manufacturers will be able to offer autonomous rides on the Uber app? It's not like Tesla will be the only autonomous option out there, just like Tesla is not the only EV maker. But then Sawyer replied, I doubt a bunch of automakers will all achieve autonomy at scale profitably at the same time. Tesla still is one of the only a select few making EVs profitably. Tesla's revolutionary unbox process will enable industry-leading cost efficiency and thus lower cost ride. Yes, and then Gary replied, investors have been saying this for years, that others will not be able to match Tesla's EV prowess, but here we are with Tesla's volume now down 2 years in a row, earnings down 3 years running, and EV adoption continues to soar. And then Omar tuned in and wrote, and yet Tesla still sold more EVs than any other manufacturer on earth last year and the year before and the year before. Yes, like I have made whole videos about, no one will be able to match Tesla on cost on the Cybercab, not even close. And I really don't know how those others 10 to 12 automakers will just have solved full self-driving basically at the same time as Tesla. Ford and Volkswagen has given up on their Arco AI, GM has given up on their Cruise adventure, Mercedes CEO has just been out saying they won't follow Tesla into robotaxis, that I will get back to later in this news show, but in the US and Europe for that matter, there really isn't anyone close to solving full self-driving. So what the hell is Gary talking about? I think Hans Nielsen explained it very nicely. The people who can't even make modern software user interfaces for their cars are totally going to solve autonomous driving almost immediately after Tesla, just because they are investing in it. I seem to remember Volkswagen investing a lot of time, energy, money and engineering into Carrot. How did that turn out again? Yes, exactly. A complete nightmare. And are now asking the Chinese for help to just make a nice EV with nice software. So sure, they're just on the cusp of solving full self-driving. And also because Waymo's technology is basically worthless in a normal car, as they are limited to geofenced areas, so they will not be able to drive you everywhere you want to or go on a road trip. And the sensors alone will cost $40,000 in the Waymo car. And Ford and the other legacy automakers are still struggling just to make a simple EV profitable, even with software that sucks. So how in the hell are they going to compete against a company that is going to be able to produce a Cybercab for around $15,000 with leading software user interface? The answer? They don't. Tesla has everything ready. The charging infrastructure, the autonomous cleaning stations, the unbox production method, the software, the app, the rating of the cleanliness of the car, and so much more. There is nothing Uber has that Tesla needs. Tesla doesn't need their 170 million users, as Tesla has to ramp up the Cybercab production first, so they will start out small and then build it out from there. So Uber will not have any other autonomous vehicles on their platform for many years, then maybe Waymo, as no one else is close on solving a generalized solution for autonomy. And I know that Uber's CEO has just said, but we have many Teslas on our network, so why wouldn't Tesla just want them on the Uber network as robotaxis? Well, the question might be instead, why should all those Tesla owners still want to waste their time on the Uber app driving people around, while they can just go onto the Tesla app that they already have on their phone and add it to the robotaxi fleet and be done with it, and then they can spend more time doing what they really love? I really don't see Uber coming out on top on this one. Nokia also had a huge user base, actually 1 billion, not only 170 million, but 1 billion users, but they lost to a new and better platform. And as we have just got confirmation that Tesla will not be partnering with Uber, it is clear to me that Tesla knows they have the best product at the best price and the best platform that no one else will be able to match. So they will just do it all on their own, and Uber and Waymo will be no more. And Tesla has told us that Tesla was only waiting approval for full self-driving in China and Europe, and apparently that has now happened in China. I did make a breaking news video about Tesla getting the approval for full self-driving in China, but we have got some more details about it and also video of people testing it out. So the full self-driving version that is currently rolling out in China is the version 13.2.6, but other screenshots suggest it might be 13.2.7, but anyway, it is version 13, and it is for the Hardware 4 or AI 4 vehicles that will be supported first. Tesla China is not officially calling it full self-driving, they are calling it autopilot automatic assisted driving on urban roads. But it is effectively full self-driving. So this is huge, and I explain why in a minute, but first, this is also a very good example of people getting Elon's politics involved in everything Tesla. It was only 1 week ago that the news outlet Futurism wrote that Elon can't seem to get full self-driving approved in China. It's yet another blow for Musk's company. So if that was a big blow, I think it's fair to say that this getting full self-driving approved in China is a big win for Tesla as well then. But as they also write in the article, it's another illustration of how Musk's outrageous political activities put his companies at risk. So Futurism here is fast to blame Elon's politics on why full self-driving might be delayed or might never come to China. But here we are, 1 week later, and it is approved. So this shows you that you shouldn't believe all the haters who just want to blame Elon's politics on everything bad that happens for Tesla. The news outlet here was clearly wrong about it, and their articles from just 7 days ago has aged very poorly. And now we see videos from China with Tesla driving around with full self-driving. This might be a limited version, but you can clearly see that the visualization is Tesla's full self-driving, and it is driving like full self-driving in the US, and it handles the crazy street of China very well, with pedestrian crossing, horses on the road, small scooters, and so much more. Very, very cool to see. But this is a huge deal, so the earnings it could bring in on its own is one thing, as Tesla have 2 million vehicles in China, so if the take rate is 15%, we're talking about $1 to $2 billion in basically pure profit. But on the other hand, the potential extra demand for Tesla cars this will bring in is also really, really huge. And combined with the new refreshed Model Y that sees a lot of demand in China, we could see the demand for Teslas go up in China overall over the next 6 months or so. So that is going to be very exciting to follow, because Tesla is not seen as a very high-tech company in China, because there are so many electric vehicles with very, very high tech in them. but this might help them to be looked at as a bit more high-tech car brand, something the Chinese people really like. But this also shows us what we have been talking about so many times in relation to the whole Waymo and Tesla talk. We can see here proved in China that Tesla software doesn't just work in the US, it also works in China. And for now they have limited it to cities, but that is by far the hardest place to navigate. So I don't think it will be too long before Tesla will include highways and main road as well. But Waymo can't do this. If Waymo put their robotaxi on the street in China, it will not move. It would be nothing but a $150,000 brick on the road. Waymo would have to map the whole area first. I think this shows Tesla's huge advantage here, that it will work everywhere on the planet. As Elon has said, it will even work off-planet. And Waymo has no chance in hell of keeping up with the speed of expansion Tesla will be able to do compared to Waymo. And again, Tesla can just flood the streets of Austin with their affordable cybercabs and outcompete not only Waymo but Uber as well on price. And now Tesla will get even more data collected in China with all the people that now probably want to get this feature as well. So let's see how this will evolve in China. But first step has been taken. Very cool to see. And speaking about full self-driving cars, we got some more news about Tesla's Cybercab. Lars Moravi, VP of Vehicle Engineering, was on the Ride the Lightning podcast and shared what we have been predicting, that the Cybercab will not have a paint shop. But it will not be wrapped. That was only the prototypes for the 1010 event that was wrapped in the gold color. But according to Lars, as Joe Tagmeyer also shared some light on, the Cybercab will use polythium paint injected into the exterior plastic panels instead of paint, eliminating a complex, expensive and time-consuming process, making the Cybercab cheaper and easier to build and likely repair. Yep, just the paint shop itself is extremely expensive to build, but it also adds like 1.5 to 3 hours on the production of the car and costs maybe something like $150 per car in cost to paint it. That might not sound like a lot, but when you are aiming to produce this car in 2 million units, it quickly adds up to $300 million in cost per year, that single step. But cool to get some confirmation that the Cybercab will of course not be painted as traditional cars. Lars also said that Tesla will not make other cars in the stainless steel that Tesla used for the Cybertruck, as it can't really be made into other shapes but this very angular shape, so they would not be able to have such an efficient car as is needed for the Cybercab, as efficiency is the key to make this the most cost-effective car on the planet to operate. And this way of putting the color straight into the material is nothing new. This is a specialized manufacturing process often used to create durable, high-quality finish on plastic components such as automotive parts, consumer electronics, or industrial equipment. The process integrated paint directly into the mold stage ensures a seamless and robust finish. But I do think it's one of the first times that we see this on the outside of a car. Again, none of these considerations has ever crossed Waymo's mind. They just use a traditional car. Not very efficient compared to Tesla Cybercab. The Seeker RT that Waymo wants to use for their next generation robotaxi, that little electric minivan, has an efficiency of about 3 miles per kilowatt hour. And that is probably the best case scenario, also because Waymo puts these huge lidars on the top of the car, making its aerodynamics worse. But Tesla's Cybercab will have 5.5 miles per kilowatt hour efficiency, and that might even be sandbagging, but we will see. But just these numbers will make Tesla's Cybercab about 55% more efficient than Waymo's coming robotaxi. So Waymo has to buy about 55% more electricity than Tesla's Cybercabs to get the same kind of mileage. And Tesla already has their own charging station and will probably put up some more maker packs on site to buy electricity with the Autobidder software to lower the cost that they will put into the Cybercab. So Tesla might even have a much cheaper price on electricity than Waymo does in the first place, but even if they paid the same price for electricity, Tesla's Cybercab will use less than 55% kilowatt hours than the Waymo robotaxi. And that is just driving miles. Tesla really has such a huge advantage as this because they have purposely built this robotaxi, not just fitting an EV with Waymo's many sensors as Waymo does. And combine that with the cost of $15,000 to $20,000 to produce the Cybercab, and Waymo's Seeker RT with all its sensors imported from China will end up costing at least $120,000 per car. And Tesla's Cybercabs will just go charge themselves with no human involved, whereas Waymo have to pay a human to charge up the car. I don't get how people can look at all of these facts and still think Waymo is going to be any kind of competition for the Cybercab. The specs are not even close. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. Brian shared this on X. Starlink competitor China's space sail plans to deploy 648 low Earth orbit satellites this year, with ambitions to launch up to 15,000 by 2030. 15,000? Nope, not going to happen. After less than 2 months in 2025, SpaceX has already deployed nearly 400 Starlink satellites, and there's more Starlink launches incoming for February. And see report below. SpaceSail is struggling to find rocket companies with capacity to launch its satellites. Yep, not easy being up against the company that built its own rocket and satellites and therefore make them cheaper than anyone else on the planet. So if SpaceX need more rocket capacity, they will just build it. And the Tesla Model 3 wins some more awards in Australia. It has just won the 2025 Driver Car of the Year Best Urban Electric Car under $100,000 award. Congratulations. And we got another huge Tesla light show from the Tesla Owners Club in Belgium. And of course it was made by Simon. But this one had drones being part of it as well, and it was a new world record for the largest Tesla light show ever. Very cool. And it seems like Tesla is advancing in their Dojo project, as Tesla recently posted nearly 30 jobs and 2 internships related to Dojo. Most of the positions are in Palo Alto, California. Tesla posted 1 Dojo-related job in Texas and another in Colorado. And Ryan's Model Y posted a funny video about things you couldn't do with an ICE car. But then he posted this afterward. Some in the comments told me dog mode is available in petrol Subarus. So I looked it up, and this is what I found. It leaves the engine running.
So first off, you want to get the climate exactly like you want it for your dog in the car. Okay, so with your key in hand, car is still on and running, climate set to exactly where you want it for your dog. You're going to then roll down the window. So your car is going to beep at you and let you know that it's still on and running with your key outside of the car. Just ignore that for now. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to reach in, manually lock your doors, and then you're going to want to hit the auto window switch up to then roll your window up. So then with your manual key inside of your key fob, you're going to want to then unlock your door manually. Your dog's been sitting inside this whole time with the nice air conditioning, and then you can get in, let your dog out. It's been temperature controlled the entire time. So that's dog mode.
Yeah, not as easy as just pushing the button in your Tesla and no emission at all. And Lars Moravi, Tesla's VP of Vehicle Engineering, was on the Ride the Lightning podcast, as I said before, but here's also what he said about the Model Y that doesn't have the 48-volt architecture. We will in time. When you talk about that many units a week, it's a lot of supply chain to bring up. We are beholden at some rate to our supply basis capacity. We will get all our cars to 48 volts. We are trying to manage the supply chain. So rest assured that all Teslas will eventually get to 48 volt architecture. They just need to ramp up the supply chain before they can do it on a car model that sells over 1 million units a year. But Lars also talked about the next generation Roadster and the SpaceX package and said, "Oh, it's definitely real. We are working with SpaceX on that now. Cold gas thrusters are super cool, and they add a certain level of break the laws of the motor physics. I promise you the Roadster, will come out. I last worked on it this past Tuesday." oh boy, please let this one come out this year. We have been waiting for so long. But if it does come out this year, the amount of new models that will come out is getting kind of crazy, as Lars also mentioned in his interview with Top Gear reviewing the new Model Y. So we have the new Model Y that has just come out, then we have 2 more affordable models, then we have the Cybercab, the semi-truck, and maybe even the Roadster as a cherry on the top. But that is probably very unlikely. We will see the Roadster this year. And speaking of the Cybercab, Lars also says that the Cybercab will be road trip capable when it is released, and wireless charging will be the way the entire trip is out of the hand of the passenger. And they will add wireless charging to a handful of their supercharger locations. Also, we have to remember the car doesn't have to stay at the hotel to charge. It can just drop you and your family off, and then the Cybercab will just go and charge itself. No human needed. You won't have to think about anything for the next time you go on a road trip when the Cybercab is a reality. And let's just hear Lars speak about all the small things that Tesla changed in the Model Y, which also included the brake-by-wire.
We have a really cool brake system in this car. I don't know if you felt it, but actually we've got like it's brake-by-wire with a hydraulic pass-through.
Okay.
And so what that's allowed us to do is like pull the hydraulic pass-throughs just for safety, at the end. So the pedal doesn't have to move when you're driving an autopilot or whatever to apply the brakes. And so we're able to pull the pads back just a little bit longer because we can speed up the application of the hydraulic fluid to give you great brake fill still, but get lower, friction on the discs when you're driving. And so all of these little incremental things, like to any one evaluation would be like, we shouldn't do that. But when you start adding up 0.25% here, 0.5%
it's almost like
there,
an F1 vibe.
Like
you save the paint weight.
Yeah.
Eventually, it makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
Almost like airplanes.
Yeah, every gram matters. Like every Newton meter of friction matters. And it's got new bearings, it's got new tires, it's got new brakes, it's got improved oil pump methodology in the drive unit to get the friction down. Yeah. We have a new fluid we call KAF, kick-ass fluid. It's like better tribology. At Tesla, we like to...
That's so Tesla. I bet, is it really good to put on your hands?
It's really slippery, but it cleans the mud off pretty good. And so all of these little things, we added in. And then we even the magnets, we have new segmented magnets in the motors and the peon at the rear that were add a little bit of efficiency. And so all of these things add up. You don't have to change the battery at all.
And not one of them has to be a headline.
No, none of them.
It's just got to be incremental.
Yeah. Whereas you could say okay, Tesla came out with new battery technology, 10% more range, whatever. We did all these other things, you get 10% more range.
And speaking of all this autonomous driving, Mario shared this on X. Drone deliveries take off in Texas. Dallas-Fort Worth skis are about to get busier with zipline high-speed drone deliveries from Walmart. Drones fly at 300 feet using parachute to drop orders straight to customers. No human needed. Faster, cheaper, futuristic, drones are the new delivery drivers. Wow, that looks crazy, but just like version 13 of Full Self-Driving is still not 100% perfect.
Oh, man.
And Mercedes CEO says they won't be following Tesla into robotaxi, as I mentioned in the beginning of this news show. Our job is to take you from A to B in style. We are not a public transportation service or mobility service provider. We could give you the product if you want it, and we can sell you, but we want to give you individually that technology. Sure, tell me you're giving up on full self-driving cars without telling me you're giving up on full self-driving cars. And Mercedes, you can have the best styled car in the world, but if it doesn't have full self-driving, when Tesla has robotaxis running in the streets, your car will feel like a horse and carriage, no matter how stylish it might be. And with all the talks we have had about XAI and Croc and how Elon and his team was able to do the impossible with 100,000 coherent GPU clusters that turned into 200,000, well, it makes you think what this huge area next to the Gigafactory is for. Maybe another huge data center for Tesla. Well, time will tell. And we have Gary Black talking about Tesla's Q1 deliveries and how they will miss Wall Street's expectation, as he expects 380,000 versus Wall Street's 222,000. What's not clear is the cause. You have got to be kidding me. How many times do I have to explain that Tesla is shifting from the old Model Y to the new Model Y, and that is leaving a huge gap in delivery? This is the world's best-selling car we are talking about, for crying out loud. Just 20 days downtime from all the 4 factories that are building this car would mean 100,000 less Model Ys produced. Just 20 days spread over these 4 factories. So if Tesla misses Wall Street estimates by only 40,000 units as Gary expects, I think that's pretty amazing. They could potentially be down even more. It all depends on how smooth the transition from the old to the new goes in all 4 factories around the world. And did I mention it's the best-selling car in the world? Oh, I did? Okay, well, it is. And if the cause is not clear, I'm sorry, but then you're simply not paying attention. That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet, also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.